Hello, everyone. It's me, Ari Dosset, in Gomer Rashid. I'm an anthropologist and sociologist. Oh, by the way, this is a shirt, Overcomer shirt by Roger Ware, British believer. Please go and support him. Buy some of his shirts, thank you. Also buy some of my novels, thank you very much too. But anyway, let's go into the topic of the day. Requirements and sustainability. But again, I want to ask you, can you hear me clearly? Please, let me know in the live chat. For those who are here, let me know in the live chat if you can hear me clearly, please. Thank you very much. All right. Let's see if the Wi-Fi is working fine and all that. Okay. Miss Peyton is telling me she can hear me clearly. Okay, that's good. Okay. Now, what do you see on this whiteboard? I wrote requirements. And I drew an iPhone. I drew a car. And I drew an apple pie. Okay. So you have an iPhone, a car, and an apple pie. Now, what is the main thing an iPhone needs? Electricity. If the phone is not charged, there's no electric functioning, it won't work. Just a device with no purpose. A car. Now today you have electric cars, just like you had in the late 19th century, but in general, cars need gas. Whether it's just plain gasoline or whether it's diesel, they need gas. Without the gas, it's a vehicle without function. It can't go anywhere. We can use it for show, but you won't be able to actually use what's meant to be driving around. An apple pie is a dish. What is the main ingredient of an apple pie? Apples. Without the apples, there's no apple pie. All right? And apart from these main requirements, you have additional requirements. All right? A car, the battery needs to be charged. A car needs to be washed from time to time. A car needs insurance. A car needs maintenance. So you have the requirements that are meant for something to work. And for it to continue working, you need to maintain it. Simple as that. So, let me write down. So you have requirements, the maintenance, there's something functions, is sustainable. So, something is only sustainable when the requirements are met through maintenance. All right? Now, an apple pie, there's no such thing as a sustainable apple pie. I'm just using apple pie as an example because an apple pie, you need to bake it properly with the ingredients at the right temperature for you to be able to eat it. Once you eat it, it's over. But with a car or a phone, a car or a phone is something you use over and over again. An apple pie, only eat it once. Okay, but even an apple pie needs to be baked properly, or else it's not the apple pie you're eating. It's some mess that may make you sick. All right? So vehicles and devices, they have requirements for them to work. So you have to maintain them, keep requirements fulfilled for it to remain functional, so for it to be sustainable. Before I continue, is this over here clear to you? Let me know in the live chat, please. Let me know. You have requirements that need to be met through maintenance. Only then something will be functional or sustainable. Let me show you an example. This over here is a headset. It's a Bluetooth headset. But for it to function, it needs to be charged. This is a power bank. You can see over here. This power bank, you can use it on your way to charge electronic devices. However, it needs to be charged. This one is charged. So what do? I have the device that requires charging, and I have the supply of power over here. So what do? I connect the device with the requirement, in this case the headset, with the connector. Okay, let me show you. The connector is right over here. Yeah, put it in. But then I need to connect the device also with the power source. And guess what? It's charging now. That's how it goes. Because if I'm not connected, there's no charging happening. For the charge to happen, it needs to be connected to the power source. Simple as that. Now, why did I use that demonstration? Because too many believers are very intelligent when it comes to vehicles and devices. They're also intelligent when it comes to baking or preparing a meal in the kitchen. But when it comes to life itself and relationships with other people, they lack all intelligence. Look, just like there are requirements for a device to work, in this case a phone, there are requirements for a vehicle to work, like a car or an airplane or whatever. Just like if requirements in preparing a dish, for example, an apple pie, there are requirements to life itself. Your human body has requirements. You need food, you need water, you need proper sleep, you need proper movement of your muscles. If any of these requirements are not met, you become sick, you may even physically die. Simple as that. If you haven't drank enough water for a while, and your body is going to protest, that protest of your body is getting thirsty. If you don't drink when you're thirsty, your body shuts down. You may even die, so it's quite dangerous. You have to stay hydrated. That's a requirement of your physical body. You can endure without food for a while, but without water for a while, you can't do that. Simple as that. Now, your clothes you're wearing have requirements. For example, this shirt over here, when I put it in the washing machine, I turn it inside out. Why? To preserve the paint over here. And I can put it just like this in the washing machine, but I like to lose the design of this. So I will turn it inside out. I will not wash it on hot water, because hot water will waste all this paint away. So I'll wash on cold water. So there are requirements for me washing and for me keeping the shirt clean. This shirt needs to be washed from time to time, because when I wear it, there are body odors going into it, there's sweat going into it. And if I don't wash it, it begins to stink. It gets very unhygienic. So for the shirt to remain clean, I need to wash it. But there are also requirements how to wash it. Simple as that. Hold on. Where is... Oh, here's the thing to wipe it out. Hold on. Okay, so let me put a plate over here. Hold on, guys. So it is rice. It's pasta. What does boiling has to do with pasta and rice? Both pasta and rice are boiled. They are. So they're both boiled products. Now, rice is something that grows in nature. Pasta is something you make. Okay? So rice comes straight out of nature. Pasta is something you make based on egg yolks with flour and all, salt and other stuff. But nevertheless, pasta and rice both need to be boiled for them to be ready. But are they the same? No, they're not. Because pasta, you need to boil in a different way than you boil the rice. And by the way, the different types of pasta. You have vermicelli, you have with chili, you have macaroni, you have pen, you have so many types of pasta. Spaghetti is the most common one. But then with rice, also different types of rice. You have basmati rice, you have, what's the other rice called? I forgot about it. There's so many variants of rice also. So even amongst the rice and amongst the pasta, there are differences how you prepare it. For example, vermicelli doesn't need that long to boil than, for example, spaghetti. You see what I mean? So you need to know the requirements, how to do the boiling. Now, why do I keep talking about requirements? Because look, as human beings, as Adamites, the sense of Adam, we have requirements. We have physical requirements, and we have spiritual requirements. Because, hold on. Let me check here. Because the human being, let me draw a human male over here. The human being is a spirit being in a physical body. So you are a spirit entity in a physical extension. Oh, that's your physical body. So the human being is, how should I say it? This one is close to 4. The human being is multidimensional. Let's say you take a dog, for example. Now, it's not the best type of dog I've drawn, I know. A dog or an animal is just a physical being with consciousness. So with an animal, the consciousness is a product of the body. When the body expires, consciousness is gone. The animals don't exist anymore. A human being, your consciousness I hope you wrote this well, but anyway, your consciousness is part of you, the spirit being. So your spirit being, that's where conscious are, because you're the spirit being and your body is physical extension. So an animal is a one-dimensional creature. That's what animals are. It's a human, okay? So look at this well. The animal is one-dimensional. It's a physical being with consciousness. All right? And the consciousness is just lingering in the body. With a human being, the consciousness is in the soul. That's where we have our mind and emotions. The consciousness of an animal is what is called an animal soul. Okay? So the soul of an animal is the animal. In the sense, it's actually the life of the animal. Once the body expires, there's no animal anymore. So there's no such thing. An animal is a physical creature. The animal is a living body. Simple as that. Human beings are spirit beings with an extension, which is the body. We're multidimensionals, understand that. So animals have requirements, depending on what type of animal it is, and human beings have requirements. We are multidimensional creatures, so we have multidimensional requirements. So the human being is more complicated than an animal, all right? Remember this very well. Now, I have a question for you. Based on what I've just shown over here, can you treat an animal the same way you treat a human being, and it will go well? Can you treat an animal the same way you treat a human being and it end up going well? Let me know in the live chat. What do you think? Can you treat an animal the same way you treat a human being and expect it to go well? Let me know in the live chat. What do you think? Will that work? Let me know. Leia mentioned no, absolutely not. It won't work. Now, let's go further. Can you treat a human being? Can you train a human being? Can you raise a human being from childhood the same way you would raise an animal? Can you do that and get away with it? Let me know in the live chat. Let me know. Can you raise a human baby similar to how you raise an animal? Let me know in the live chat. You may also, shit, why are you asking these common sense questions? So hold on, I'm getting to it. Can you get away doing that? Will it work? Raising a human baby like you're raising an animal? No, you cannot. Absolutely not. Now, because the requirements for an animal are far different than requirements for a human, okay? And even amongst humans, you have male and female. So men have requirements for them to function well, and women have requirements. Now, they're both human beings, the old descendants of Adam, the humans, but males have the requirements and females have the requirements. You also have to look at the age. A child has different requirements than an adult does. Simple as that. So whenever you deal with other people, you're dealing with a creature with requirements. You, human, have requirements. So you have to start looking at other human beings as human beings with requirements. If requirements are not met, the human being is dysfunctional. And if the human being is dysfunctional for long term, they're damaged. Simple as that. As human beings, we're interdependent on one another. We're fully dependent on the Heavenly Father, and between us, each other, we are interdependent. Okay? So, is it realistic in this fallen state of our human species to go out there and expect human beings to be fully functional towards you? Let me know. Is it realistic to go out there right now on the street and expect human beings to be fully functional towards you? Is that realistic? Let me know in the live chat. By the way, if you're in traffic, pay attention to the road, please. Thank you very much. Then you only listen to the live. Can you leave your house right now or your apartment, go out on the streets and expect human beings to be fully functional? No, it's not realistic. Are there fully functional human beings out there? Those are saints, fully delivered believers. Do you have them around? Yes, you have them. But are all human beings believers and fully delivered? No, they're not. So the majority of human beings you'll encounter are either dysfunctional or they're fully damaged, one of the two. And some of them are just evil. But put the evil ones aside, because those are the ones you can easily recognize if you look well what you're dealing with. Most human beings you'll encounter are either damaged or they are just dysfunctional, one of the two. So, if someone gets upset with others being dysfunctional, who's the problem over here? The other people being dysfunctional or the individual being upset about it? Knowing that the majority of the humans you'll encounter will be either dysfunctional or damaged. Because people who are fully functional are rare. If someone gets upset with others being dysfunctional, who's the problem over here? The individual being upset with them being dysfunctional, or the people are dysfunctional? Who's the problem? Let me know in the live chat. Let me know. If it's not, listen, if the majority of the human species was fully functional as God intended to be, and it would be only a few people that's functional, even then wouldn't be proper, you'd be upset with them. They're dysfunctional, they need help. If they're evil because they're just fully neglectful, okay, now that's something different. Even then, if someone is evil, you're not going to waste your strength being upset with them. It's only going to add to their evil. You're not doing that. But if the majority of a species is dysfunctional, you were dysfunctional too, and I get upset with others being dysfunctional, what the heck is that? You know what I mean? But let me tell you, that is the common attitude you encounter in a lot of people, including believers. A lot of believers are so upset with others being dysfunctional. But then you think, hold on a minute, weren't you dysfunctional too? And by the way, some of those believers are still dysfunctional because they're not even delivered. So they're dysfunctional, being upset with others being dysfunctional. Why? Because other people's dysfunction affects them. Now they're upset. When their dysfunction affects other people, now suddenly there's a reason for it. No, 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 no. That needs to stop. All human beings have requirements. We all do. Can you meet everyone's requirements? No, you can't. Can you meet all your own requirements? No, you can't. For you to meet all the requirements would mean that you are an independent creature who doesn't need anything or anyone, and you're not like that. If you were an independent creature, you wouldn't have requirements. Okay, so you cannot even guarantee your own requirements being met. That's why you trust Heavenly Father, and you need to be you have to be in harmony with other people. You know what I mean? No human being is independent. We all are dependent on the Heavenly Father, and we're all interdependent on others. You may not be you may be independent from certain people, but you're also dependent on others. You know what I mean? So you cannot meet everyone's requirements. You cannot. Because you can't even meet your own requirements without the assistance of the Heavenly Father and other people. Now, your requirements, whose responsibility is it? The world will tell you, well, it's you, because it's all on you, which is false. Your requirements and requirements of other people belong to the community, because the human species is a community species. So as a community, we are responsible for each other's requirements. But we cannot meet everyone's requirements, not even as a group. That's why we need to be guided by the Heavenly Father. So both as an individual and as a group, we ought to follow the guidance of the Heavenly Father. And between one another, we are responsible for each other's requirements. This does not mean that individuals don't take personal responsibility. Of course, we should take personal responsibility. You need to admit your own requirements, and you need to admit when something doesn't go well. You also need to admit other people's requirements and admit whether things is going to be a match or not. So as a community, we are responsible and accountable for the quality of life on the earth. That's how we are as human species. So the human species is obliged to form healthy local communities and to function with one another. That's what all humans ought to be part of. No human being has the right to be neglectful and wasteful. Let me repeat that. No human being has the right, nor the entitlement, nor the consent, nor permission to be wasteful and neglectful. Nobody is. I don't care who you are, what your ethnicity is, what your rank is in the spirit. No human being has the right, nor the entitlement to be wasteful and neglectful. Neither towards themselves, nor towards other people. Okay? Now, understanding this about our species, you need to ask another question. Do people consider each other's requirements? Do people consider each other's requirements? Well, we should. I mean, for example, this here is a Samsung tablet. I haven't used it for a while. Here you can see it's a Samsung tablet, okay? It's not charged, so I need to charge it. There's a requirement, I need to charge it. And once it is charged and I press the button on, I need to update the operating system and the apps. The requirements. When it comes to, for example, a tablet, we know the requirements. when it comes to washing, maintaining clothes, we know the requirements. But do we consider each other's requirements as human beings? That's the first thing we should do with one another, examine each other's requirements. This is where war and violence begins. When we don't consider each other's requirements, we have to be sensitive towards each other to communicate effectively. You cannot communicate effectively if you're not sensitive. And sensitivity means being vulnerable. Oh, Lord have mercy. I'm going somewhere with this. You need to be vulnerable. You need to admit you're a vulnerable creature. By embracing vulnerability, you become sensitive towards other people and towards yourself. And through this sensitivity, you have empathy. And through empathy, you communicate with others. So you have admitting vulnerability, which leads to sensitivity. Sensitivity leads to empathy, and empathy leads to effective communication. And out of this, you have harmony. Okay, I'm going to lower down this. You can read it. Okay, you see that? You have to admit your vulnerability because we're all vulnerable creatures. We're all vulnerable creatures. If you don't admit you're a vulnerable creature, you need mental help. You need mental help immediately. If you don't admit you're a vulnerable creature, you really need therapy immediately. Seriously. You're delusional. We're all vulnerable creatures. Admit your vulnerability, how God made you. Once you admit your vulnerability, now you are sensitive towards yourself and others. This sensitivity brings forth empathy. With empathy, you communicate effectively, and then you have harmony in the community. That's how it should be. That's how we design with Heavenly Father. But worldlings don't admit vulnerability. Admitting vulnerability is what the Bible calls being humble. Okay? Admitting vulnerability is a realistic attitude, which is what the Bible calls humility. In the world, humility is a no-go. So people in the world are proud. So they're insensitive. Because insensitive, they lack empathy. Empathy is very hard to develop if you're not sensitive. And in this insensitivity, they now have aggression towards one another. So let me wipe this out over here. This is Jesus' plan for us over here. My God, why is this happening like this? And this is what society or the world is doing. They deny vulnerability, which is pride or the ego that they have in the world. Now, they're insensitive. Because insensitive, they are dysfunctional. Dysfunction brings forth pain, mental plus emotional pain. And in this, they lack empathy. So that's where you have poverty. Lack of empathy is poverty. You know what I mean? And in this poverty now, they are aggressive and violent. And that's how you have normalcy, being normal. We're meant to be in harmony. We're not meant to be normal. Now, normal means something is a norm. Okay, a norm doesn't have to be wrong, okay? It can be the norm that you wear shoes outside, especially if it's a cold weather. So wearing shoes outside can be a norm, no problem. Okay, or it can be that people work out a lot. That a lot of people do that in the community because once they fit. Okay, that's a normal thing to do in the community. There's nothing wrong with that. As long as there's harmony. The moment you have norms at expense of human harmony, it has went too far. It's gone too far. Simple as that. Okay? This is how it goes in the world. People deny the vulnerability, so now they have pride and ego. So the insensitive, because insensitive towards themselves and others is a dysfunction. In this dysfunction, they develop mental and emotional pain. And because of mental and emotional pain, they now have unrest. And in this unrest, they act out to seek relief. That's how it works in the world. They seek relief. So, understand this. Society can never have full human harmony. Because society is a narcissist construct that adults in the world use to escape. And for you, what are they escaping from? From admit their own vulnerability. But it's admitting vulnerability, what the Bible calls humility, that brings forth human harmony. So, can you get along with society and remain mentally and physically well? I'm asking a serious question. Can you get along with society and end up mentally and physically well? Let me know in the live chat. Is that possible? Wait, let me write this out too. Something line. No, it's not possible at all. Cannot happen. You hear me? And if there's anyone who tells you that by just conforming to society, you will be in a human harmony with yourself and others, I'm telling you, they're either delusional, so they need a lot of professional help, or they're just evil by insisting on this hoax will harm you. All the human species is diverse. The diversity of human species we call ethnicities. You have blacks, which is the black ethnicity, which itself is quite diverse. Look at Africa and diaspora. You have Europeans, or called whites or Caucasians. They're not that diverse. I mean, from Europeans, you have the Germanic whites, you have the Celtic whites, Slavic whites, you have the Mediterranean whites also. And those were the groups. And they have the Asians. In Asia, you have the Sino people. The Sino people, those are the Chinese, Koreans, Japanese, and Taiwanese. They have their diversity among themselves. You have the Austronesian people in Southeast Asia, somewhere in Southeast Asia. You have the Polynesian people. So the human species has diversity in ethnicities. Okay, and ethnicity is different from nationality. Ethnicity is your ancestral diversity that you come from. Nationality is the nation you belong to, the unit you belong to. I don't care which nationality or ethnicity you come from. Every nationality and every ethnicity needs to be in human harmony with one another. Okay? For example, if in the whole human species, everyone is in harmony, except for some of the Chinese population, then we have a problem as a whole species. Because the unrest amongst the Chinese will then spill over to everyone else. All of the human species has obligation to be in harmony within their own ethnicity and nationality, and then between one another. That's how it should be. The reason why right now in the world you have things like racism, classism, you have people want to do ethnic cleansing, all of that, is because there is no human harmony. Because people don't want to admit their vulnerable creatures depend on Heavenly Father, independent of one another. So the end of classism, racism, discrimination, the end of sexism, the end of all of that is just this: admitting human vulnerability. So being humble, humbling yourself. Only then will you become sensitive, you'll develop empathy, and in empathy, you will end up communicating in an effective way. You'll learn to communicate, and then there will be harmony. Only then. As long as you follow society, we follow the world, which is a Greek cult, by the way, this is what we're going to get. The normalcy we'll have is frozen conflicts. Oh, and by the way, in Gaza and that area we call Israel, a frozen conflict just blew up since past weekend. You know what I'm talking about. I'm not going into the topic right now. Frozen conflicts are the norm in society, because society itself is a conflict. What's the big conflict of society? Us not admitting we're vulnerable creatures, needing the guidance of the Heavenly Father, and that we need to be in harmony with one another. Simple as that. Look, every ethnicity and every nationality of our species ought to invest in human harmony. So they all ought to humble themselves, admit the guidance of the Heavenly Father, and then develop sensitivity and empathy towards one another, for there to be effective communication, and we all can get along and be at full peace on the earth. Nobody is allowed to be exempt from this obligation. Anyone who thinks they're exempt, what are they doing? The Bible is calling it sinning. Sinning is thinking you're exempt from obligation to contribute to human harmony. Thinking, oh, it's my life, my will, I want, I don't feel like I this. Now you matter too. You're part of the species, you matter. But you matter and others matter too. So we should have an us attitude, a we attitude, not a me attitude. You should have an us attitude. So others ought to consider you too, as you consider them. That is effective communication. That brings forth harmony. Not this thing of society where people are terrified of being abandoned, and that's why they give in to restrictions. That's society. And churches are all about society, not about community. This is community, as God intended to be. This is the world over here, which is violence. This is violence, and this is love over here. And with love, I'm not talking about that sentimental sensation you get when you see someone from the opposite sex. That's lust. I'm not talking about lust. Lust is natural. Lust isn't only about sexual attraction. You can have lust simply means a strong desire. You can have a lust to eat chocolate, a strong desire to eat chocolate. You can have a strong desire to work out. You can have a strong desire to spend time with your family. But I'm not talking about lust. I'm talking about love. Love is a dedication for the better. That's what love is. So God designed us to have communities as human species, with love as a foundation. The world has a fear-based escapism run by violence. Everything about society is violence. Everything about society is violence. Even things like going to a party, to going to a nightclub. Some say, Rashid, what's the violence of going to a nightclub? Come on now. Let me explain to you. Can everyone just go to a nightclub? No. You need to buy a ticket. That means if you can't buy the ticket, you're excluded. So there's so-called a party going on, and now people are afraid to miss out on the party. That's why they make effort to buy the ticket. Who gets the money ticket? The people that organize the nightclub. So there's exploitation going on. At a nightclub, can you just go anywhere you want? It is possible, but no. You're expected to be in a sexualized way. Especially as a woman going to a nightclub, you're expected to be in a sexualized way. So there's a sexual expectation over there. Once you're there, you're expected not to mention anything serious. You're just there to have a good time. So the whole thing of going to a nightclub is a violent situation. And that's why if you're at a nightclub and someone complains about you, your security guards are ready to kick you out. They don't care who could start the conflict, just kick you out. So everyone's at ease. So nobody cares about justice. Everyone just wants to escape. So going to a nightclub is violence. I'm not saying that everyone in a nightclub is violent, but the situation is violence. But a lot of people don't realize that. For example, looking for a job. Why is everything arranged in society that you need this thing called money to function? But the money is distributed in such an unequal way. So money is made by humans, we distribute it in an unequal way. So now the majority of the population has to strive and fight to get money for those who have it. You have the haves and haves not. So even I think you need a job, people think it's just natural. It's not natural. You shouldn't have to pay to be alive as a human being. The fact we're in that situation is already violence. So what I'm saying in society is all violence. Violence is not part of our design. Violence will harm you mentally and physically. If you're under stress because you may lose your job, or you may become homeless, or you may be abandoned by your family, or you may or whatever, or people may turn on you. If that stress will harm your physical body too, you'll develop diseases. So violence should not be part of our human existence. It has become part of our existence due to the fall of man. But violence should not be part of our existence. Violence isn't just knocking someone out with your fist or shooting someone with a bullet. Violence is anytime you disregard someone's requirements, but you still expect quality from them. Listen, this headset over here needs to be charged. If it's not charged, I can't expect quality. I can only expect quality from this headset in listening to music or whatever, or talk on the phone if it's charged. If the requirement of power is not there, I can't expect quality from it. I need to charge it. As you over here, I need to charge it. And when it's finished charging, then I can put it on and I can expect quality. Simple as that. The car you have, you can't expect the quality of driving the car if you don't put gasoline in it. Your phone, whether it's an Android or an iPhone, you can't expect it to have quality, means functioning, if it's not charged. But for some reason, we think we're entitled to quality from other human beings, regardless whether requirements are met or not. Now, human beings, once they're adults, they should also make effort to meet other people's requirements and their own. They're not little babies who can't do anything. If someone's an adult, of course, you expect a bit more from them because they're adults. But even then, you can't insist on quality for someone regardless of the requirements being met or not. That is violence. Mm. But we're used to being treated like that. We're used to being treated like that. Oh, this is the law, or this is just what we expect. Well, it's your problem. Well, you're a grown man, a grown woman. We're used to being violated. We're used to others demanding quality from us, regardless of how they're treating us, or regardless of our requirements being met. We're used to that. So we think it's just the way life is. No, it's not. It's violence. We should have communities, not societies. All right? As long as we operate in violence, we'll have frozen conflicts, sickness, diseases, mental disorders, all of that we'll have. It's when we go to community as God intended to be, that will be harmony and life will be paradise on earth. So this is walking after the flesh, as is said in the New Testament. This walk after the Spirit. They don't go hand in hand together. Okay? So, what do you want to be part of? Walking in the Spirit, which will bring forth true peace, with Jesus in the lead? Or do you want to be part of society where everyone just escapes and the strongest violator ends up violating everyone gets along with? That's society. The strongest violator gets away violating everyone, and people just get along with it. And when the people can't take it anymore, they look for victims, so weaker people to violate in return. That's society. You want to be part of that? Or you want to have the true harmony that comes from walking by faith? Now, don't get me wrong. Because most human beings are on this side over here, you will face retaliation from this side when you walk in this. But we're guaranteed we will overcome it. Amen? So, is this clear unto you? Listen, I was on fire before making this live stream because there's one thing I've noticed amongst a lot of believers that really kind of irritates me. The reason it irritates me because it's something that's so obvious, we really need to accept it. We all have requirements. All human beings do, believers and unbelievers. We can only have full harmony and safety if the requirements are met. And for requirements to be met, we need to be, how do I say it? We need to maintain one another. You get me? Some human beings need more maintenance than others based on their mental condition or the past. That's true, but we still need it. For example, let's say I would buy a car. Okay, let's say I would buy a Lamborghini. And I think, yo, guys, I got my new Lamborghini, man. Look at this. But 5 days later, I would say, fuck this Lamborghini. Oh my God, I can't stand this car. People say, Rashid, what goes on? 5 days ago, you were so happy with your new Lamborghini. I need to put gasoline in this car over and over again. Wait, Rashid, you're upset because you have to put gasoline in your Lamborghini? Yeah. Is it an electric Lamborghini? No, it's just a common Lamborghini. But Rashid, you do know that you need to put gas in a car for it to work, right? Yeah, I know. Okay, but why got you upset? Man, I don't want this over and over again going to the gas station. Oh, what the heck? And now I trash a Lamborghini, dump somewhere at the road. People think, what? Rashid just dumped an expensive Lamborghini just because he's upset with the fact he needs to maintain the car. How do you think people look at me? They think Rashid is out of his mind. You can't have a car and decline its maintenance. What the heck are you doing? Well, the same way, human beings cannot expect to have quality in daily life and in outcomes if they're not operating in agreement with Christ. In agreement with Christ, we maintain one another as communities. This is what we're supposed to do. If we're not doing that, we shouldn't expect quality. If anyone expects or demands quality from you, but not operating in agreement with Christ, if they don't know any better, they don't know any better. They still need to be delivered then. But anyway, they're operating in violence. I'm not saying they're violent people, but they are operating in violence towards you. Again, they don't have to be violent and evil people, but the moment they demand quality from you, but they're not in agreement with Christ, operating in maintenance of community, they are operating in violence. Simple as that. Violence more broader than you think. Listen, man, don't beat up yourself, okay? Because you were not taught by the world to be in harmony. You were not. You were taught to be competitive and to exploit and to I'm gonna say as to give in to the violence of others. You were told to kiss ass and shut your mouth. That's really what the world taught you. So don't blame yourself, okay? From now on, admit your requirements, but also be realistic. Others have requirements too. Be in harmony with other people. Don't just say, I have my requirements. You guys need to consider that, but you don't consider anyone else. There must be harmony. But you only develop harmony when you admit your vulnerability and develop sensitivity and empathy. Amen? No, seriously. And the area where we need to admit vulnerability, the area where we really need to be realistic in is when it comes to human sexuality. Oh my God. I don't want to go too much into that right now, but listen. Sexuality is the core of our being. It's the root. They call it the root chakra in paganism. It simply means it's the core of our being. The core of our spirit being is sexuality. You're either a male spirit or you're a female spirit. As a male spirit, you have a male body. As a female spirit, you have a female body. So sexuality isn't just something physical. You are either a male spirit or a female spirit. So sexuality is something eternal. Marriage in the world is all about securing offspring and securing survival. Because we're mortal, we have mortal bodies, and to keep our communities going in the next generations, we have these arrangements, sexual arrangement called marriage. Angelic beings in heaven are only one, they only have men in heaven, by the way. Angelic beings are all male, and they don't have physical bodies that die. When Jesus comes back, we will have physical bodies that are immortal. But you'll still either be a male or a female. So male and female are eternal. Okay? You're either a male spirit or female spirit. Okay, we won't have the requirement to maintain the next generation because we're immortal, but nevertheless, we're still a male or a female. Sexuality is always our core. Sexuality is not just having physical sex intercourse or having physical sex. Sexuality is the core of your being, your emotions, your mind, your functions, all sexuality. All sexual dysfunction begins where we deny our vulnerability. Vulnerability and sexuality go hand in hand, and they're almost the same. Without vulnerability, you have no sexuality. So anytime humans deny vulnerability, they make themselves sexually dysfunctional and sexually ill. All right? So the majority of our species is sexually sick. Why? Because they won't admit vulnerability. Your sexuality is vulnerable. So if you deny vulnerability, you make yourself sexually sick. And that's why there's so much sexual violence and sexual oppression in the world. That's why you have so much sexual tension in the world, because people are not admitting vulnerability, because they operate in pride and ego. Listen, if you are a woman, you'll always be a woman. Even Jesus comes back and you're in a mortal body. You'll be a woman in a mortal body. If you're a man, you'll always be a man. We're not all going to end up like men when Jesus resurrects us. Are you kidding me? No. Male and female are God's eternal design. But it needs to be in harmony. And this is what all believers need to work on: humility. All right? Without humility, you can't get harmony at the end. Amen? Okay. Are there any questions about this topic? Let me know in the live chat. Let me know. Are there any questions about this topic? Let me know. Okay. I'll wait for one more minute. If I get no questions, I'll close down the live stream. Okay, but remember this. Admit your vulnerability, then you develop sensitivity. With sensitivity, then you develop empathy. You learn to effectively communicate. That is harmony. Then you have actual community where people are safe, sane, and stable. If this doesn't happen, you have frozen conflicts with all the diseases and plagues coming with it. Oh, I forgot to say this. Beware who you look up to. Okay? Listen. The world has a lot of examples of people that appear to be in harmony, but it's only an appearance. And too often we compare the issues we go through behind the scenes with their performance. No. What they have is a performance. They're not sharing with the public all the struggles they have, or all the issues they have, or all the attacks they have. They don't do that. So you see a performance of those people being in harmony with one another. But is it true harmony if it's just a performance? The world has performance of harmony, but they don't have real harmony. The world does not have real harmony. They have performance of harmony. And too often, when we go to retaliation as believers, we then look up to the performance of those without Jesus. Listen, those without Jesus, they have no real harmony. They have performance of harmony. Through paranormal aid often. Believers should not be looking up to that at all. Believers should admit that we have issues amongst each other, admit vulnerability, and work on our communities as believers, what we're supposed to be doing. Don't look up to people. Okay, it's one thing to be inspired and motivated by someone. There's nothing wrong with being motivated and inspired by someone, okay? If you have a bunch of believers who are struggling financially, you have this pagan who's breaking through financially. If you're inspired by the pagan who's breaking through financially, I can understand that, okay? But he's still a pagan. He still has side effects. He still has sorrows coming after him. So being motivated by the pagan who's breaking through financially, especially see other believers around you keep struggling financially, if you keep focusing on believers who struggle financially, you'll end up depressed and hurting yourself. Don't do that. So if you see a pagan around who's not a believer, who's breaking through financially, be inspired by him. But don't look up to him. A big difference. You can be inspired by someone, not look up to them. If you are obese and want to lose weight, it's one thing to see a bodybuilder and be inspired to also do something on your own body or to lose weight. But it can be that the bodybuilder is using steroids. In this case, you don't know whether you use steroids or not, but you're only going to be motivated by using him in a slim body, in good shape. Using the bodybuilder in good shape to make you want to be in good shape too. But you shouldn't be lying by looking up to him. He should not be the one that keeps you going. Jesus is. Okay? When can you look up to someone? You can look up to someone who is in full agreement with Christ. Look up to people who are in full agreement with Christ. Because you'll never end up wrong over there. Don't idolize them, but look up to people who are in full agreement with Christ. People not in agreement with Christ, don't look up to them, only be inspired by them. Because if you can't look up to them, you end up copying their ways. By copying their ways, you end up snaring yourself in trouble. So look up to those in full agreement with Christ and learn from their errors in the past and learn from their journey. And only be inspired by those who are not in agreement with Christ. You can be inspired by someone who agrees with Christ. Absolutely. You should be both looking up to them and be inspired by them. When it comes to people not in agreement with Christ, you only are inspired by them. So only motivated to do something yourself. That's it. Don't look up to people who are not in agreement with Christ. Don't do that. All right. Well, that's it for now. Hold on. Keep on. Agree with Christ. Be at peace. And I'll see you next live stream. Shalom. God is good all the time.